I'm Lexi Davis, a love embodiment coach who helps people create a love that feels like home, and I'm here to bring more romance and playfulness into the world. I'm also an international retreat host, vibe curator, and human connector. I serve people through my business, Alive to Enjoy, and this podcast where I invite guests from around the world to sprinkle their wisdom and expand your perspective so you can create the deepest love you possibly can reach in this lifetime. I also want you to live the most joyous life, whatever that looks like to you, and I hope that this slice of the internet brings you lots of smiles and helps you keep your heart open. Thank you for choosing Heart Snuggles to be in your ears each week, and I'm so glad you're here with me. Welcome everybody to another Heart Snuggles. I am super excited for this episode to give you guys more awareness around how magical birth can be and is and what's possible and just how to understand it more, because I really feel like it's super misunderstood. And I met this beautiful woman in Portugal really briefly, and I'm so excited to learn more from you. So go ahead and share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi everyone. My name is Kenya. I am a birth and postpartum doula, and I am also currently a midwife assistant. A doula is a non-medical professional for birth to assist and accompany people through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. Okay, so before we go into the details, I always ask this question of what was the last random act of kindness someone did for you?
Ooh, I've been receiving a lot lately. Just
Love that.
good. But the first thing that comes to mind is my best friend. I was at the other end of the city at a friend's house having dinner, and out of a sudden, it was like a super sunny day, and out of a sudden, it just started raining and there was thunder. Like I did not have an umbrella with me. And my best friend was just like texting me and was like, "Hey, I know that you don't have your umbrella. Like I know you. The second there's a sun, you're not bringing that with you. So do you want me to come and pick you up and like give you a lift back home?" And it's a little thing, but it's a big thing for me. It's like this is so caring, and I felt really like grateful of the people I have in my life. Like how what you think about me when it's raining, you want to give me a lift home. Like he was like, you have an afro, like you did your hair. I don't want you to have the rain in it. So super cute, very kind. Yeah.
Love that. Love
Mm.
the sweet moments between friendships too. It's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. And the next question is, what truth about love did you learn the hard way that you wish someone would have told you?
About love, I would say that confrontation or disagreements can actually be a way to get closer to someone. And love in every forms, with family, with friends, with a partner. Sometimes we disagree. Actually, it's for sure gonna happen. And instead of seeing this as a contraction that you need to fight towards or run away from, it could actually be a beautiful initiation to meet halfway and repair and work through things. We tend to want to run away from like situation that triggers us, but it actually can be a very beautiful trampoline towards something even bigger and deeper in your relationship.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's a big fact. Like conflict is a portal to connection. You get to open in a new way and really see parts of themselves that you didn't know were there, or yourselves that just need love. And like when you can actually understand that these are like two pains meeting each other instead of seeing it as like they're against me or you're wrong or right, it's you can get so much further into like back to your hearts and feel so much more love. So I love that one.
Yes, I strongly agree.
Yes. Okay, so I love to know how you got into birth and pregnancy and what started you on this journey.
So I love to explain that story.
Okay.
So thank you for asking. Um,
Cute.
One of my close friends got pregnant a few years back, 2 years ago to be exact. So it's been recent. It's been less than a year that I'm very dedicated to this new soul mission. But 2 years ago, a good friend of mine got pregnant, and it is for sure a celebration. That's the first reaction we have. But through accompanying my friend through her pregnancy, I saw how pregnancy, birth is not just something to celebrate and something beautiful. There's also a grief. And I was not ready to witness that. because you grieve the woman that you were your whole life. You grieve the dynamic of being just two in your relationship. You grieve a lot of things, even projects that you had in mind, because it was like an unexpected pregnancy, which is still a beautiful thing if that's what the person wants. But yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices that comes with it. And so seeing her going through the physical change, the mental and emotional and even spiritual things that were happening, I was like, how can I support her better? And I did researches and I saw about doula courses basically. And I intuitively signed up for a course, an intensive course that lasts like 2 months. And when I told my parents, I was like, hey, like I found this course. I really want to dive into it. I don't know. I feel like a pull. My dad was like, that's so interesting because your great grandmother and all the women in your African lineage were midwives back in Africa. And I'm like, I had no idea before I signed up to this course. So it was like, this is so aligned. This is like ancestral
Mm.
knowledge and even calling. Like maybe I was pushed into this.
Yes.
So, yeah, the second the course started, definitely a new passion of mine. I am like obsessed with pregnancy, with postpartum, with everything that comes with it, especially like traditional knowledge and ancestral knowledge. It would be a dream of mine to become a traditional midwife one day, for sure.
Wow, I love this. The path, it's inevitable, you know? I love how we always get there. And it's so nice to meet people that are really in tune with it's true for them and to be living that because as you're describing, like, I'm so lit up by this. It's amazing to be in that space of, I mean, I haven't actually witnessed a birth yet, but I can't even fathom like getting to experience that all the time and just help people through that huge initiation. So that's amazing.
Yes, I am amazed and I feel like it's a blessing every single time. Like when I witness a bird or even just like people trusting me enough to accompany them in the most spiritual journey you could ever like walk into. It is a blessing, seriously. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things that are either unexpected about like the pregnancy to birth or that are misunderstood that you've noticed.
Of course, there is so many things. One of them is for sure the grief part. Pregnancy, having a child is way more than just having a child and like the American dream or just the dream of having a little family and stuff. There is a lot of contractions that comes with that play of words, but there's a lot of triggers, there's even like trauma that can come back. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people. And so, yeah, it is for sure an initiation. The other thing that comes to mind is how pregnancy, birth is really overly medicalized in our system. If you ask me, birth is literally the most natural thing a person with a uterus could do. Like our body is literally meant for that. I'm not saying that every woman or birthing person are supposed to give birth. I'm just saying our body or organs are literally placed in a way to carry life. And so to be so ripped away from our ancestral knowledge, intuitive knowledge of carrying life, birthing life, and to a point of like people are so fearful of it now and they automatically want the epidural or they want to give birth in hospitals because we don't necessarily learn about it in school. We don't even know like what really is happening when we're contracting or when we're dilating. So to me, for sure, it's normal that women feel so vulnerable and out of power, out of balance when they're pregnant and they get into that fearful mindset. And so it is very important, and it is my sole mission to not only educate women birthing people into pregnancy and their power to give birth, but also that hospitals are not always the safest place to birth your child. It could be at home, it could be in birth centers. There's so many options out there. And the first thing that is important is to unlearn all the things we see because when you watch a movie, for example, when they're giving birth, the first thing you see is like the woman screaming, she's losing her waters, she gets to the hospital, she screams on her partner, she wants like the epidural, like it's the most awful thing, but it can actually be a very peaceful birth. I've seen a lot. And so it's more about connecting to your body, being really in tune with your body and in like confident that you will birth this child. You grew this child, you can birth it on your own, to be honest.
Yes, it's so wild to me how disconnected. Like I didn't know about any of this until I don't know, a few years ago, and it blew my mind to know that there's another way. And the amount of fear we have around our bodies and the whole process is so sad, like you're describing. And I'm just so happy that people like you are educating and showing new ways because, yeah, births can even be orgasmic, which is like, what? I mean, it makes sense, but the fact that what we're portrayed, like you said, is constantly this horrible, scary experience. Yeah, so I'd love for you to share some ways to, what are some ways women can get like back in power and connected in their body? I know you said building the connection with your body is one of the best ways. Is there anything else she can do so that she feels more confident and actually knows she has a choice of something besides the hospital?
For sure. So many things are coming to me. The first word that came intuitively is education. You need to understand what is going on physiologically with your body when you're giving birth or even through pregnancy. Because if you have no idea what's really happening, of course you're fearful. It's the first thing, the first time that you're experiencing that, it's painful. You're not prepared. And I think a lack of preparation puts you into a fearful mindset. So, really understanding what exactly is going on through every period of your labor and also through your pregnancy, hormonally. And your best friend when you're giving birth is oxytocin, which is the hormone of love. We naturally secrete oxytocin when we make love with our partners, when we get a hug from someone we love. It's not just true sex, it's also true, like just really loving moments. And so, the best way to have a natural birth is to really stay in that hormone for sure. And I would say that the enemy of birth is adrenaline. So, it's fear. So I would say to stay in your power is to for sure understand what's going on with your body, but also use fear and the contractions as something to work with and not to work against. We tend to we don't want to have pain because just look at our society today. It's like the second that we experience pain, we want to run away from it. We want to increase it. We want to get
No.
it over with. No, actually, pain is a really important thing when you're giving birth. If it would be so easy to give birth to a child, I don't think that we would be attached to our babies that much. I think naturally, just when we think about like goals, if we work so hard to get something, once we get it, it's like, this is my precious like accomplishment. And it's the same thing for babies. So yeah, I would say education, staying in a love surrounded environment. And there's a lot of tips also about breath work, meditation, visualizations, changing positions as well. Yeah, that's what comes to mind right now.
So many pieces. I just love how there actually is a lot of different ways to create more easeful and pleasurable birth. It's not just given to special people. It's like, no, you can create this and cultivate it and choose it and prepare for it in so many little ways. And yeah, I think knowing you have that just creates such a big sigh of relief that you can have so much choice.
Absolutely. Yes, I have a little story to give as an example. If we think about a deer that is trying to give birth in the woods, for example, they make sure to find a safe space to give birth. So they're not going to give birth if there's a bear walking around. Their body is going to give them secrete adrenaline, which is going to go against the contraction. So you're actually going to stop dilating because your body is not safe. It's telling you this is not the space to give birth to your child. So if a deer is walking around trying to find a place to give birth and there's a bear, they could be literally in the middle of labor and run away, even if the baby is starting to come out until they feel safe enough. And that's the same thing with us humans. If we feel fearful, our body is not going to relax and go into oxytocin and endorphins. It will go into adrenaline and not let you dilate the way that it would be ideal for you. And that's when contraction goes against your baby coming out, and you can have ruptures and even more things. So it's really about staying in your power, but also really being vocal about what you need right now, your boundaries, how you want to give birth, because that is your birth. It's not the doctor's birth, it's not other people's experience, it's you and your baby.
I love that. Feels so good to hear. It
Yeah.
There's so many ways where we just let other people decide for us and we don't understand that we can choose. Even like a wedding, for instance. I was like hearing that it's like so oftentimes your wedding is just what your family wants. It's like, no, 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 this is your wedding, this is your birth. So what is true for you? And it can get a little complicated too. I can imagine at a hospital, have to be more educated again around the rights because oftentimes there's so much happening that we don't know about. So maybe you can share some pieces if you know about that. I know it might be different in every country, but
For sure. So I'm in Canada right now, so it's very different than the United States. But I just want to say beforehand, as a doula, I am not against the hospital and I am not against medication. I think that medication can really save lives, like for sure. Even the epidural can really be helpful in certain situations. What I am against is over medicalizing birth. So using medication when it's not really needed in this case. So my job is to accompany the person emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every realms, but especially there's a big part that is education. So instead of just saying as a person that wants to give birth, like I'm gonna take the epidural because it's a choice coming from a place of fear, like automatically epidural, like what? If you get the education of, okay, there is the epidural that is a possibility, but do you know the cons about it? Because there's perks. Yeah, of course you're gonna feel way less the pain. But do you know that not feeling anything is you pushing without really understanding when to push, which can cause a lot more ruptures, a lot more over medicalization because you're not in tune with your body. So if you're not pushing in tune with the baby trying to come out, because there's contractions, right? Like it contractions is a time to push, then it stops, then you don't push. But that, you don't feel those things anymore. You don't know when it's time to push. So you have someone else telling you when, which is special to me. And if it's not working, comes the forceps, comes other medications. So I would say it's very important to know the cons and perks about every step, about epidural, about Pitocin, which is synthetic oxytocin, about every medical gestures, so that from that place of you are educated on the perks, the cons, you can take a very clear choice. It's not a choice coming from fear of not even knowing the difference. It's a choice coming from empowerment. You know what I mean? So, what I would say about hospitals, a lot of the time, I hope that is changing. It is from what I'm hearing here in Canada. But unfortunately, a lot of the time in hospitals, they don't tell you the cons about certain medication or interventions. They're just like, you're in pain right now. Do you want an epidural? Okay, like here it is. You know what I mean? They're not going to take the time to be like, this is the cons of what can happen with the epidural. This is the con of what can happen with just vital signs every 5 minutes or the stripping. They don't necessarily take the time to do that. And so you kind of can feel like a rat in the clinic. Like you're just there and you just accept whatever comes to you because you don't know what's the other options. I think it's important to educate for sure.
yeah, that's so good. And we had another lady on here sharing that, yeah, the epidural can make it harder for the baby to latch because the baby is receiving the epidural and then the baby is numb to some degree. And so there's, yeah, lots of different effects. And but I can also simultaneously like imagine someone hearing this, for instance, for the first time that there is choice and that you don't even need to do a hospital birth, and then just feeling the fear of that of, well, how am I gonna not do it? How am I gonna stay with the pain? How, and so I can see how it could be really overwhelming and to just choose that because you've heard so many people use it. And again, this is where it's like if you know that there's other ways, you can start to learn about other ways.
Exactly. Just knowing your options and really deep diving about your needs because wanting a birth in the hospital is totally valid. There's people that they will feel safer in their body to know that they're giving birth in a hospital. If ever something goes west, even if they want to give a natural birth, but just knowing I'm in a hospital, if things doesn't go as I want, or just like if some health issues comes, I'm already here. So for them, it's like I'm gonna be way more in my oxytocin and chilled. There's other people that hospitals with the bright lights and like many medical staffs and stuff. Like for me, like no way. Like I want to be at home. You know what I mean? Like so, and even birth centers, a lot of the time they're connected to a specific hospital, like where I'm working. So you can give birth in a home, in the birth centers, which is work like with midwives. They are medical like professionals when it comes to birth. It's just that they're more focused on a holistic way and in a holistic approach. So more natural. They do not usually give the epidural. It's more holistic. And if ever things doesn't go well, you need a cesarean for whatever reason, we call an ambulance. They're here in 5, 10 minutes. You're on your way to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like it's not like if you give birth in a birth center, you have no choice to give birth there without medication. There's so many options, and it's just so mandatory to let people know about them.
Mhm. Yes, I love this, and I hope people just start learning what's true for them, and that's what's best, is there's so many different layers of options. And also had another lady on here who did a complete free birth where there was no scans, no medical intervention the entire time. It was her first birth. And so like that's the radical extreme of the other end. And it's amazing. Like you can choose what's true for you in any way. And for me personally, I think it's beautiful being like that woman was so in trust with herself and her abilities to do whatever the baby needed and so in tune. Really, that's all it took was like being that in tune with yourself and knowing you have a good partner, obviously, to choose that option too.
Absolutely. And I'm not a professional in free birth. One day, though, I would do the courses. But what I am in awe about that is that you, as you just said, you are so in tune with your power, with your capacities. You just are so confident about you birthing this baby that a lot of the time it goes so well. And if I may, a lot of the time that a birth doesn't go well, it's not necessarily because there's a health issue, there's some problem going on. It's a lot, the source of it is the lack of confidence. It's being in fear. If you're in fear, you're not connecting to your body. And your baby is talking to you through the pain, through the contractions. If you don't feel comfortable on your back while you're giving birth and you're like moving around and like putting a leg up a chair and it feels more comfortable, that was your baby telling you, this position right now is like blocking me. Move around, you know? And you move around, you just try different things, you're kind of in trance, and it's just so, it's like the most beautiful thing to watch. Like a woman that's just like, this is not working, I need to be on my fours. Or just moving around intuitively and like, okay, yeah, I feel more like it's better now. A lot of the time, gravity helps, duh. Like, it's your baby talking to you. It's like if you feel more comfortable in another position, that's them like finally finding their way to you. And if you're in fear, you're fighting against that intuitive talk. It's so painful. You're in fear. You want people to save you with medication, with whatsoever. Then, of course, it's not going to necessarily go the best way.
Ooh. I love this. So spicy. It's so real though.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. There's so many options.
Yeah, and it's okay like to build that amount of trust, like to not feel fear is a skill you would be amazing to learn before the process of even getting pregnant because as as a feminine embodiment coach, I'm always in my own fear and holding and guiding women to like really go in there, like go into the depths of the shame, the fear, the pain, the like the scary shit because when you can hold that on your own, you know that like I'm sure that transmits into the birth process too. It's like you know you can move through any sensation. And when you're that in tune with your body, like you're saying, I've never heard that hearing your baby is just telling you where to go. And that makes so much sense because that's how the body works. Like the baby knows how to get out. We don't like there's some way bigger intelligence. Like, look, the baby just happened in your belly. Like technically you didn't do much. It just was created. So it makes sense that it knows how to get itself out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And as you said, it's normal to feel fear. I don't want to like spread a message of like you should not like be fearful. Of course, you're gonna be fearful. Like you're giving birth. This is like the biggest physical thing or one of the biggest physical thing you could ever go through. It's a natural emotion. I think it's just working with it, being fear being a compass and more like a something to work with and not against. The second that you get against it, and it's normal a lot of the times, even though you practice, you unlearn, you got yourself ready, there's moments, especially in the ring of fire, which is when the head of the baby is like in the biggest dilation. So it hurts, it burns. It's the ring of fire. And a lot of the time, that's the moment where they're like, I can do this. I want epidural, like they're just this is too much. And it's as a doula or a partner or family whatsoever that's in the room, their role is to stand there and be that tree and to bring them back, ground them back. Like, my love, do you remember during your course, like how you were so specific and radical about not having the epidural? I'm telling you, like, you can do this. You got this. Like, this is a sign that baby is coming. And when we hear that, like, even with the midwives, when we hear like the birthing person saying, like, I want the epidural, this is too much, no, I can't. We're actually smiling, not in their face, but like deep down, we're smiling because we're like, okay, the baby is coming. The second that they're saying that, it's like the baby is coming. Usually, like, not even 30 minutes after that, the baby is there. So it's a good sign for us. And what I love to give to my clients in prenatal classes is like, you will for sure, or at some point, want epidural or want something to ease off the pain. So you might scream that, but in a hospital, they might take it seriously. The first time you say the word epidural, they might actually give it to you. So what could be a code word between us that you're not joking? Like, you actually want the epidural, and it's not just a way to release and vent. It's actually like, hey, for real, I want this medication. I love to have a code word with them, and it could be like the word red or anana, you know what I mean? And like, if they really look at you and they're like, anana, like for real, which is pineapple in French, now I know for sure that this is not just, like, for sure, I want you to receive and be like, that we give you the experience that you want and that you listen to your body, you know?
Exactly. Again, it's that choice of, especially where the environment you're describing. What's it called?
Birth center.
Birth center. Yeah, you have that choice of the backup support of at any moment you can have it. So I know that brings a lot of safety to a lot of people. And I'm curious, have you been with women that have had like big complications or it went south, and how did you help navigate them through that?
So
I know every situation's different, but
yeah, yes, for sure. Every birth is unique in their own way. For sure, it happened, especially at the birth center where we needed to do a transfer to the hospital, whether it was a choice by the person that's like, I want to go to the hospital, I don't feel in tune, or really the baby is in I don't remember the term in English, I'm sorry, but when they're like in the other way, so the feet are coming first, a lot of the time it's more painful. So, or it could be more difficult to give birth. So a lot of the time, if the midwife don't feel like this is the safest way to stay here, they can do a transfer. But I didn't experience a traumatic like birth on my end as to witness so far. And I saw like over 30 births so far. So I think probably five of them was transferred and like three of them was more for pain. So yeah, I hope it goes like that.
I'm
Mm.
so happy that you've had good experiences and that just reaffirms what's possible when you make this choice. And what do you find as like the most beautiful part of the whole experience of birth?
Oh, there's two. May I? There's two different. So one of them is, as I mentioned earlier, it's when I feel like the mother, the birthing person is really in tune with their body. There's a moment where sometimes it seems like they're in trance, like they are not there. They're so connected with what's happening that just seeing them like move around, change position, not even like wording it, hey, I'm gonna change position, like just doing it, going with the flow and listening to their baby or like talking to their baby, like, okay, you're coming. Okay, I feel you. Oh my God, I love you so much already. Like, it's so beautiful and so magical to watch. Oh my God, like such a blessing to witness that. And another thing is the partner being so grounded. It's such a beautiful thing when they know their partner so well, like they know their wives or their girlfriends or the mothers so well. And they're like, hey, like just stepping in and leaning in and like taking them and just being like, let's breathe together. Let's do this together. Wow, you're amazing. You're birthing your child. Like the affirmations that they're giving, the groundness that they're giving, being that really still tree. Like I see it as a tree for me. It's like being rooted because when you're giving birth, you're not rooted a lot of the time. It's like you're out there, you're in flow, and it's like just having this person next to you that's like bringing you back to your power and grounding you and being like, I know this is painful, but you're birthing your child. It's normal. Like this is what's like we talked about this. You got this. Here's some water. Being so involved, beautiful, or even like helping with positions, using rebozo, which is like a traditional scarf that we can use from Mexican medicine, where they literally like hold their partner together and they're involved. It's really important for the partner too, because they feel like they also birthed that child. Like it can help them have a connection with that baby. That's a whole other subject, but how partner like being involved in the brooding process and not just like out of a sudden there's a baby and like, yeah, you're the father, you're the co-parent, like take care of this child, actually being every step of the birthing process, leaning in, there's a big game changer in the postpartum for sure.
Yummy. That just my whole body was like tingling hearing that. And I've seen some videos on Instagram and it just makes me cry every time. Like that is, I feel the true design of birth. You're not meant to do it alone. I also had a lady on here who said like her husband couldn't even touch her and was not even involved during and how alone she felt. And it made me cry so much just feeling that people have to go through that experience. And so
Mm.
knowing that there are people that have that like anchor to bring you through such a crazy, I think it's the most magical spiritual experience we can have. Feels so warming to my soul.
Yes, and that's also something that I give in my prenatal appointments with my clients. It's I love to have if there are two people, if they're in partnership, I love to give a course also with the partner involved because it really involves them too. It's not just like the birthing person or the mother. And it's about like every people are different. There's people that has a phobia of blood. Like how can I help my partner like giving birth, my girlfriend giving birth if there's so much blood? Or like how can I lean in if I have this fear of like pain noises or stuff like that. And there's so many different routes and ways and even playful ways to support your partner. There's some people that can literally watch the whole scene and like want to see their baby coming out. There's some people that absolutely do not want to see it, and it's valid. But I like to scratch a little bit. Let's dig in there. Why you don't want to see it? Like what's the fear behind it? Or why are the noises so fearful? Let's dig and let's see like what's the source of it. And maybe there's another perception that can help you lean in. And if not, how can you lean in a way that suits you and like not put you in a like uncomfortable, because we don't want the partner to be like freaking out. Like that's not the energy we want in that room at all. You need to be like grounded. So yeah, for sure.
I would love to hear any more. You were gonna say you have more to talk about like the partner and how that impacts the process. I know you just did a little bit, but I think it's so important and so untalked about.
Absolutely. So partner care through pregnancy, birth, postpartum is a game changer. How they are showing up is a game changer. I would say, especially in postpartum. Postpartum is such a part of childbirth that we don't talk about enough because being pregnant, giving birth is temporary. Postpartum is for life. The way that you were cared for after giving birth can really have an impact on the rest of your motherhood or even your connection with your baby or your partner. So I would say, as I just talked about during childbirth, being grounded for sure, but in postpartum, having the uncomfortable conversations is really important and not like once you gave birth. Like some people, it comes in that moment and it's okay as long as you're having them. I'm really proud of you guys, you know what I mean? But before conceiving or during pregnancy, having a talk about how do we want to consciously parent this child? How do we want to, like, what's the couple dynamic that we want? Because having a baby will change our couple dynamic, like, for sure. Postpartum care, like, who's going to continue going to work? Like, let's talk about that, like, money wise, you know what I mean? How do we want to raise our child? What does conscious parenting means to you? And so, partnership when it comes to baby making, childbirth, postpartum is beyond just being there and making sure that your partner has something to eat and, have a positive childbirth. It's also having the uncomfortable talks. It's having a game plan, a strategy, so that once the baby is here, we're not like, okay, who's cooking? Like, who's like gonna help the baby during the night or like take care of them? So I would say partner care is being very rooted, one, through it all.
Mm.
When we're pregnant, our hormones are all over the place. We can really have a big libido or we can not have it at all. Like, and that can really change a dynamic. We can be out of a sudden like obsessed with our partner because we're like, oh, you're the father of my child. Like we did this together. Like your smell is amazing. Like everything about you is amazing. Or we can just be like, leave me alone. Don't touch me. Everything about you triggers me right now. Like it's hormonal. Like it's so unique to everyone. And so I would say for the partner, it's easy to say, but to be the most grounded way possible and supportive way possible about the needs of the mother. There's really a game change when it comes to postpartum and how she shows up in the relationship for the baby afterwards.
What would you say he can do in a moment where she's like pushing him away or kind of overreacting or being really spicy, where he is maybe feeling like ow, but still wants to be there? How can
Doing childbirth or
no, just like even during the pregnancy or
mm,
any of it really. Yeah.
oh, it would be different. So pregnancy, I think there's a big part about surrendering, about letting go, of being like the most grounded one and the bigger person. So for sure, just like receiving and like, okay, she has needs right now. This is coming out in different ways, and like you're still a human. You're still deserve to be respected. I think for sure boundaries needs to be put if ever it goes in a way that is becoming a bit difficult, but always trying to leave space for constructive conversations and from a place of care and love, like, hey, I really want to help you right now. I understand there's a lot of things going on, and like this is the first time for both of us, and like, baby, I love you so much. I just feel like really pushed away, or like I feel like I'm not really involved in your pregnancy, and that's just like affecting how I want to show up. Like I want to be a present father, I want to be a present partner for you. Like I understand that you have certain needs. Let's talk about them and how we can meet halfway maybe, or how can I like support you through that, because I have no idea what it is to carry life. I have no idea what you're going to like hormonally or even like spiritually. Like this is difficult and I want to be there. So what does being there for you means to you right now? If it's like me disappearing 3 hours per afternoon so you can have your cocoon, then I'll do that. If it's for me to like cook for you and like make sure that you don't have to think about logistics, I can do that, or like I can find a way, a solution. So it's like being solution oriented, but also being in a state of like not, oh, because men, if we talk about men and women partnership here, men tend to want to fix everything. It's like a natural thing for them. It's like there's an issue, let me fix it. But I think when we're pregnant during childbirth, we don't need you to fix, we need you to protect and just be present. And that can come in many ways. But if you're in your fixer mode, you can be very burned out quickly because it's a 9 month long process. Then there's the childbirth, there's postpartum. This is a whole ass life changing experience. And it's more about, okay, let me like come back to myself and check in with myself about what are my needs as the partner and what are her needs, and try to find a way to it without being against each other and without me trying to impose a solution. There's a lot of time there's no solutions. There's just you being there and being present, and that can calm her straight ahead. Yeah.
So amazing. Thank
Mhm.
you. Communication is truly entirely the biggest part of any relationship. So, yeah, I love that tip. Obviously, support having big combos to clear up that stuff because, especially after giving birth, you are not trying to figure anything out at that moment. So,
But
yeah,
you
uh,
must rest.
so much resting. Yeah. I don't want to get into postpartum this episode, but I know there's a whole lot there. However, I would love to hear any like ancient traditions. You were saying you want to bring more of those back. What are some that you really love that people could use?
Of course. So I would say when it comes to once you gave birth in ancient Chinese medicine or even African medicine, a lot of lineage, they really recommend having a 40-day of full resting. Really a 40-day where you're like literally in bed and people take care of you. Eating hot, staying in hot temperatures, warmed is really something that Chinese medicine focuses on. There's also this ideology from South American traditions, like from Mexico, from Guatemala, that once you give birth, the portal is still open. And a lot of the time, you can attract, actually, if the portal stays open, you can attract energies that isn't yours, and it can lead to postpartum depression and more. And so they love to do a ritual called the closing of the bones, where we use a rebozo, which is a very like stiff cotton scarf that we wrap around your hips, and we just tight your hips and you stay in that cocoon. And there's also like a full like body closing of the bones ritual which you look like a mummy, like from Egyptian times. And when you're ready, it's not like too tight. It's like a very easy knot that you can come out of. You come back and you get out of these knots yourself. And it's like, it's really like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon again. It's like coming back to your body. So that is a beautiful, beautiful ritual. I would say yoni steaming also, like just using herbs and boiling water to sit on after like 8 weeks postpartum to really heal, help healing the tissues, the pH of of down there. But I would say during childbirth, it's really about connecting to your ancestors to childbirth and talking even to them. There's also rebozo techniques that can help. I am still learning a lot about those, or even tantric orgasmic birth. That is a whole other subject that I cannot wait to learn about. But like, birth can be pleasurable, and it was pleasurable for so many tribes in Africa. Like, it is something that is should be normalized as well. It helps to secrete oxytocin for sure. Yeah, I would say just being in tune with your body is ancestral. Like, to be honest, these days we're so individualistic. We don't have the village anymore, you know? Like, people are like in nuclear families, which is you, your partner, and a baby. And it's the first time, like the first generation or very like few generation that is starting families without a village. And it's really having an impact in our mental health. We're used to give birth and having the neighbors coming and cook for us, the mother come and like washing you, taking care of your baby while you have time for yourself to rest. We don't have that anymore. We're nonstop in mommy mode or father mode, and it really has an impact. So I would say one of the most ancestral and easy thing is to bring back the village. Bring back the village. I don't know how we can do that. I think a doula is about being the village, but it's one person. But the most ancestral thing that we could do for pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum is to have friends, partners, family that have specific roles and to have a village around us.
It's so beautiful. I really agree. That saying hasn't died, you know? It's like I still hear it takes a village to have a kid. And it's I know it. I was a nanny for 12 years, so like just being a part of so many families, you know, I saw how much it takes after the kids are running around or just coming out. And every essence, not just through the birth, we do need community. It's so essential. So I think, yeah, that's beautiful. And I hope everyone has the opportunity to have their own village around them.
It is seriously such a beautiful thing to have people you can trust to help you, support you, cook for you. It can be really simple things, just having friends over to like do the dishes and like take the baby while you have a shower. Like, simple as having a good shower. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult to have a good like 20-minute well-deserved bathing moment, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely one of my fears around that process of the lack of sleep and the complete devotion to a human. So
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful. So, anything else you feel you want to share before we wrap up this episode?
So far, I would say, just to circle back, it's so important for me to share that. It's really having conscious questions and conversation with your partner if you have the chance to conceive with a partner and like bring life within partnership. Really have those conversations beforehand. A baby is not just a project, it is a sacrifice in many ways, a beautiful one, but it is a sacrifice. And a lot of people just minimize that because there's societal pressure to have a family, but take the time to sit down and to deep dive with yourself of the type of mother you want to be or father you want to be, with your relationship, how you want to show up for each other still while having a child, and how you want to show up to this baby. It's conversation that will seriously change how you parent and really can do a positive outcome to your relationship, because a lot of people just have a child and then it just bites them in the ass because they didn't have the conversation. They didn't realize postpartum was like that. And it can really torn apart the way that they show up for each other, for themselves, for the baby. And I would say that one of the reason why I was called to really deep dive into this calling is that I was like, how can we heal the world? Each of us want to kind of change the world their own ways. And I was thinking, like, 80% of our patterns or toxic patterns or trauma are from childhood. So I was like, maybe I can help from the source. Like, if a mother is happy or is in tune with her body, prioritizes herself, she will give birth to a healthy baby that will also like healthy, like spiritually, emotionally, you know what I mean, in all senses. And the more you're in a conscious state while you are a mother and your partnership and for the baby, the more you're going to grow a little child that will also step into the world with less trauma. And so it will make this world a better place, you know? So yeah.
So nice. Love that mission, and it's true. I'm full stand for it, because when you bring someone into this earth, so everything you do affects them, and the more we can create safe, happy babies, it's like what is possible in this world is limitless. So thank you so much for this gift. And the last question of the podcast is, what's one of your most romantic memories you've had in your life?
Oh, wow. You know what? I would say it was moment with friends. I think romance can be beyond just with a like loving partner. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like in a romantic way. I feel like romance can really be experienced through friendship. And it's just my girls showing up in the most vulnerable moments of my life. It's me like about to go to Costa Rica to join a man that I was dating and him canceling 2 days before. And I was just like, what? I'm supposed to backpack this country for a month with you, calling my friend and her flying in and experiencing that journey with me. That was so romantic. Like, it's just moments of my life where I was in rock bottom and my girl showing up in different ways by like coming home with food or like just like, hey, let me play with your hair. Like, okay, let's get pretty and go out. I think those little glimpses of romance through friendship are beautiful. And if with a man, I would say the memory is there's so many memories, but I would say the feeling that I have is when I feel so seen and accepted as I am through everything, where I don't need to people please, I don't need to perform. Like they see all of me and they're just an acceptance of all of me. And that is so romantic to me.
I agree. That feeling is like, ooh, so good. Even in the friendships, that's where I learned romance was through my sisters. Like, my gosh, the way we love each other is so beautiful. So, wow. Thank you a lot for today. So much goodness in here. And let people know, it'll be in the show notes, but where can they find you? What are you offering if they want to work with you?
So you can find me on Instagram. It's Kenya Saint-Lôt. I'm sure you're gonna link it. Otherwise, I'm going to be nomading a bit for the next year and offering my gifts a bit all over the world. So if we're in the same country, amazing. If you want to follow journey, amazing. And one day I will settle, whether it's Europe or Americas. I don't know yet, but I think they can find me, especially through social media. And I am open to be a nomadic doula for sure.
Wow, how special. Giving birth to the world. Well, thank you again.
Thanks to you, Lexi, so much for this opportunity.
You made it to the end of the episode, so now it's time for our snuggly heart breath of the day. Place a hand or both hands, if it's safe to do so, over your heart and take a big breath into your heart center. Open your mouth and let it go. I'm so grateful to have shared this time with you. If you enjoyed this convo, please share with your besties and your fam. And if you're a visual person like me, fly over to YouTube and watch the video. If you want to do a random act of kindness today, please leave a 5-star review so more people in the world can get their heart snuggled. You're helping tremendously when you do this, so thank you so much. And as a gift for doing so, I'll give you my Soften Your Heart Medi that feels like an exhale and a hug from within. When you leave a review and email me the screenshot to heartsnuggles@alivetoenjoy.com, you can also find the email in the show notes and you'll get the free meditation. Sending you the warmest, comfiest hug and lots of unexpected blessings your way. Remember that every single person just wants to be loved. So how can you be loved today?